Okay, today I'm going to tag a blue charm. I'm using the Arex HR401 Classic. This is actually a size 2. So, go ahead and start my thread. Just tie my tag in. So if you look at the hook, you can see the eye here sitting out. So I'm going to close that up and I want to try and flatten out that step. So putting the oval here against that will help. So I'll just run the oval back up to where my yellow floss is going to end. So somewhere about there, I'll trim that off. We're going to use some Larkerton yellow floss. And I'll just pull it down flat and you can see it there starting to straighten out. So when it's straightened out, it will wrap nicely for you with no lumps or bumps, which is what you want. And again, I'm just going to bring this all the way back up the body. Okay, next we're going to tie in our tail. So for the tail, you want to create a nice smooth area where you're going to tie it in. If I had just tied it in there against the floss, it would kick up. So you want to try and tie a nice little flat base for the tail. So just go ahead and measure it up then. Something like that would be good, because the Mallard wing is going to be a nice low profile wing. So yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So a couple of wraps just to secure it. and we'll snip that off. So at this point then, I'm going to change over the thread to a black thread. So just a little whip finish. There's a couple of loose strands here. I'm just going to take them off. That's fine. Just come in and start my black thread then. And then we're going to use some Lockerton extra small silver oval, and that's going to do a rib. Actually, sorry, I'll tie in some floss first. Again, I'm just trying to line that cut end of the floss up to the end of the eye there. And then bring the floss down. And then at this point, we'll tie in the oval. And the same thing, I'm going to try and line it up to the edge there. So I'm bringing the black thread down to touch the yellow floss, and then I'm going to try and do twists and turns all the way back up the body. So this oval I need to tie in, or else it'll just wrap around the hook. So I'm trying to tie with the camera in front of me here, and it's actually a bit of a nuisance. But I'm trying to keep that oval nice and flat, because if I don't, it'll wrap around the hook and it will mess up the floss body. And then we'll just trim that off. So same thing, I'm going to pull out the floss here, just to try and keep it nice and flat. And the floss, you want to do slightly overlapping turns of it. just snip that off. So bring up the oval now. So you want to try and aim for about 5 turns. Yeah, snip that out. Okay, so get your blue hackle and fold it and create a little tie-in point. So I'm now tying up on the bend of the hook, if that makes sense, of the eye, sorry. And maybe one more just for luck. And I'm pulling out those fibres of the hackle just to try and eliminate some bulk. And just remove the stem. So I'm just fixing my hackle to make sure I'm happy with how it's sitting. So now we're on to our mallard wings. So mallard can be tricky enough to work with. So this is how I select mine. You can see here the pair of feathers. So the feather on the left here, this is the feather I'm going to use for this side of the wing. So the left hand side of the wing. So to do that, I want to get rid of all this fluff. So I cut it off. Now I'll get rid of our fluff. So I like to attach the mallard wings with the stem still on. So you want to get yourself 2 strips of mallard. Something around that kind of size. Again, leaving the stem on, the little slip, makes life easier for you. So this one is just a little bit too wide, I think. So we'll take some of that off. And then just check your slips for size. So yeah, they're a nice size. So what I do now with each slip is I pull the fibres. If they're running the kind of -45, I'm just going to pull them and try and get them down to like 90 degrees to the stem. See how the shape of the slip is now changed? And that's going to sit nicely then. So there's a difference in the slips. And that's one side done. So same again for the opposite side. So 2 slips. And just checking for size. So they are, this one maybe is just a little bit too big. No, we'll stick with that. So same again, stems 90 degrees. And just check for size against it was at hand. So that's my 2 feathers now, and they're going to sit on. So I'm happy enough with the sides and the shape of them. So I'll take 1 slip of each, the left and the right. And I'm just putting beside each other and checking for length. So length is fine. So you see this feather here is opened up slightly. So I'm just trying to remarry that back together again. There we go. That's fine. So just checking for length. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep both the slips beside each other here. You know, kind of sides touching. And when I'm happy with my length, I'm going to roll the feather around. Oh, maybe I'm not. And roll it around like so. So the other important thing as well here is have each stem on each side of the eye of the hook. So just checking for length here. Again, lining my feathers up. So that looks pretty good for length to me. So I'll change hands. And now I'm pinching my left finger and my left thumb. Good bit of pressure on that to hold it in place. I'm just going to do 1 loose wrap over and make sure that the stems are both down on the eye of the hook on their own side. And then 2 or 3 wraps, nice and tight to hold it in place. And then I'm going to let go and see how my wings looking. So happy enough for that. So at this stage, I like to add a little bit of glue. And that'll just help keep that in place. So a little bit of glue down my tan thread. And a couple of wraps, and that'll hold that in place. So if you don't clean the excess glue off, you might get a wee lump there. So I'd like to just get my finger in and pull the excess glue away. So at this stage, you can go in and you can snip this nice and tight now. Okay, now we're ready for our second slip. So all I'm going to do now is offer each side up. And just check for length. And again, make sure the stem for each slip is going its correct side. So again, nice and tight. And 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and tight. To hold that in place. And we'll just take our fingers off and see what our ring looks like. So I'm happy with that. So same again, a little bit of glue. And remove your excess. So when you're happy with that, cut away the excess as tight as you can to the head. Just making sure I don't get those hackles. And then just a couple of wraps in to tidy up the head. Now you can add other bits and pieces on at this stage, but I absolutely love the mallard wing on a fly, and I think it's good enough by itself. So that would be my version of the blue charm. It's one of my favourite patterns, and the mallard wing is just beautiful, I think. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, just take off your thread. So to finish, I use some Red Zap Thin. So that's us, just hit it with a torch now. A couple of seconds. And that's it done. Thank you.